Well, now what? Sure. Hi. Welcome to episode 2 of the trash car build. It's going pretty well so far today, if you can't tell. It's blizzard outside. It's super cold in here. And now I've created myself a problem. What do I do with that? I have a giant piece of glass that's broken, and pretty sure I've got like 13, 18 glass slivers in my hands. That's fine. Totally fine. But where do I put that? I can't just like throw it outside. I'll lose it in the snow. It's not a good idea. I don't know where to put it in here. I'll figure out something. But welcome to Lefty's Fabrication, episode 2 of the trash car build. Let's get going. The limited amount of glass experience I have is taking broken glass out of excavators, which usually involves one of these. And I'm super grateful that my brother-in-law had one, because I don't own one of these. Do I want one? Yes. Do I really need one? Probably not. But I like it. I would highly suggest this, if you can get it into all the places. You know, zip around the windshield real quick. I just have the scraper attachment on there. It's been working pretty good. You know, and I probably struggled a little more with this front windshield than I will with the back, because I couldn't get all the way around with it, and it was already broken. So it kind of fought me getting out, obviously. And I couldn't get in these here corners, which are still attached. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But it's progress. Look at that. I was really hoping I could do this without making an absolutely gigantic mess, but that idea quickly went out the window. See what I did there? Thought I would just let you all admire the absolute pile of stuff I took out of this car already. There's all the door glass and part of the trunk liner, I believe. Rear seat, carpet, rear bumper. All that stuff was inside the car. This thing is sitting much higher. And now that I've taken the windshield out, one thing I forgot about was that the glass is part of the structure of the car when you have a unibody car. So if you look right here, you see it's not that great. Up until just now, this door opened and closed just fine, and now we got a little bit of a gap issue here. It was already like that on the other side. I think that was from the accident why it was like that, but this front fender was not like that, and now it is. Eventually I am going to weld all the doors shut, so that doesn't really matter, but it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt getting in and out of this thing if the door is sticking. Alright, now that I finally have all the glass out, pop this piece out. Now I can get the rest of the dash out, at least the part that I care to take out. Out of there! That's one way to do it, I guess. Okay, here's an update. The entire interior is stripped as far as it needs to go. I even got the steering wheel done. There's no more leftovers of the airbag in there. It was just 2 bolts. They're super easy to get to. I'm an idiot and didn't check. So there's just 2 little covers on the back side of the steering wheel, and then the airbag module thing piece comes right out. It was super easy. I ended up cutting the top part of the dash off. There's a plastic interior structure that was across here. I ended up just cutting it right there. I need to leave a little bit so that the gauges have something to connect to. And eventually I'll probably cover this back up with sheet metal, but I'll leave it for right now. I was going to pull this out and I was going to pull this out, but I'm just going to leave them in there because I'm lazy and they would be really, really difficult. There's screws I can't get to. Since I need to relocate the battery, I'm just going to run the cables up this strip rail and into here. There's a hole that goes through here. Ta-da! And you can see the floor down there because I pulled out the blower motor. So I'm just going to do that because that's super easy and then I don't have to do as much. So the next thing we need to do is build a roll cage. Yay! Finally some fabrication. So I'm going to start taking some measurements. We're going to grab a piece of pipe and then we're going to start bending. Sound good? Sounds good to me. I generally just take a tape measure, start it wherever I want to plant one side, and then I'm going to measure all the way around. Stay. I'll have to trim it later, but that would be a good place to start. Where's my marker? Do you steal my marker? I have to go find one. Okay, here's what I've come up with. It's 57 3/16 outside to outside. That's not center of pipe. Then each of the bottom legs is 24 inches. After the first bend, it's 18.5 inches. Then the middle is 43. So next, we just got to figure out what the angles of all the bends are, and then we'll start fabbing up some pipe. Okay, our first bend is going to be, see, that's 160. So that means it'd be 20 degrees. And this next one, does that look straight across there? To the next one? You're gonna need to help me out here. Hey, check this bad boy out. Yeah, I got me a new portable bandsaw. It's pretty sweet. Hit 60 miles a gallon on this hog. Got tired of my old my old bandsaw. I kept breaking blades, so I got a new one. And now I don't have to cut the grinder anymore. Stuff. I don't have to cut stuff with the grinder anymore. Woohoo! This thing is awesome. Nice. All right, it's about time to start bending some pipe. I've got my super cheapo bender all set it and ready to go here, and I've got all my lines marked out for the center of my bends. I'm just going to line up those lines with the center of the die that's in here and then start bending. Yeah, bendy stuff. Now I realize that I shouldn't be using pipe. I really should be using tubing to build this roll cage with, but I'm not going to a fancy drag racing thing. I'm racing in, literally we race in horse arenas. Nobody cares. It'll be fine. My last roll cage wasn't even, the hoop wasn't even one piece. It was welded together. And that passed tech somehow, so I think I'll be okay. I have here a dial indicator. Right now it is a little bit off, but it's at 1 degree. So I'm going to do a 10-degree bend on this, so I need to go 5 more degrees than what this is telling me. You want to take the degree that you're bending and split it in half, and that's what you're looking for on your gauge. Savvy? Clear as mud? Brilliant! You need to account for spring back in steel, because it will try and flatten itself out, back out just a smidge. So you want to overbend any bends that you're making by a few degrees, something like that, a certain amount, percentage. Whatever that percentage is, I don't know. I'm going to guess, because that's good enough. Turns out the ram on this thing is absolutely garbage. So there's a bunch of air in there, and the seal's leaking. I know you're supposed to use this thing laying down on its back, but there's no way to check the angle that you're bending at with it like that. So this is what I've come up with. If anyone else has any better ideas, I'd be happy to hear them. leave a comment, please. Well, I got almost all the way there, and look what the bender did to my pipe. This happens, God, at least every other time I try and make a bend with this stupid thing. The only way to get it to not do that is to fill the whole pipe full of sand. This is making for some absolutely riveting content, isn't it? Oh no! It's spilling it everywhere. There, that should be the last of it. How do I get down? I really hope this works. I've made the decision to just skip the center bend altogether. I put like a 2, maybe a 1 degree bend in it, but I'm just gonna pretend I didn't and move on. Cool? Great. Fantastic! Well, after all of the struggles I've been through so far with this main hoop, mostly with the bender, not my fault. Something that is my fault is I forgot to take into account a measurement somewhere, because the top part of the main hoop is too long. It's 4 inches too wide to fit into the car right now. So I think I forgot to take into account the outer diameter of the pipe. I don't know. It's been years since I've had to deal with any pipe. I used to make pipe handrails all the time, and it wasn't a big deal, but it's been a really long time. Now, the roll cage on my previous car, I did not build it. And whoever built that just did some miter cuts and welded pieces together, and it was ugly but functional. Was it all that safe? I don't know. I honestly have no idea, but it passed tech, so that's good enough for me. So I'm about to break a rule because I'm out of pipe. I'm going to take 4 inches out of the middle of this thing. I am going to sleeve it. I'll sleeve it. Don't get after me. I'm going to sleeve it. And it should be fine. We'll just hope and pray. But if the last roll cage passed tech, this one will pass with flying colors. You should see the welds on the other one. Again, they are not mine. Please don't judge me. I'm already out of shape about it. Bong! This still pains me. I gotta be honest, this still pains me. I really, really did not want to have to do this, but this is where we're at. So, here's the sleeve that's gonna go inside. It fits nicely. It's not super tight, but it'll have to do, because it's what I have. Somewhere along the line, a guy has messed up the angles on his bends. I'm really failing at this. Don't tell anybody, okay? Yeah, I'm right where I need to be at the bottom, but up here is almost too wide. I only have like an inch. I only have like 1/8 of an inch up there. So where else did I go wrong? Good news, everyone! Professor? Anyway, good news! It'll fit! So I only messed up the once. Twice. I only messed up twice. Time to do some welding? Yeah. Like, I don't know if anybody else has an issue with it, but I have a really hard time sometimes switching processes. I've been running dual shield, 045 dual shield for a really long time now. I haven't even turned on my welder in, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. It's been a really long time since I've fired that thing up, and I forgot how loud the cooling fan is. I mean, just listen to that. It's been running for like 2 or 3 minutes, and as soon as you start welding, it turns on. I have a Tweco 211i fabricator. It's a Tweco fabricator 211i, and it's really loud, and it runs for a really long time. All I'm running in that is 030 hardwire. It's not anything big, but literally as soon as you pull the trigger, it turns on the cooling fan, and it's kind of annoying. And it is an older welder. I've had it for a long time, so I'm hoping the Tweco has fixed that by now. But that is super annoying. Now, I have the main hoop finished. I got the welds all nicely ground down and smooth. I just think it looks better, honestly. I really didn't need to do that, but I come from a background of, you know, making handrails and purposely making welds disappear. So that just felt better to me. I know a grinder and paint make you the welder you ain't, but it just looks better, okay? It's fine. Anyway, it fits really, really well in the car. I'll probably have to trim the legs a little bit when I put the base plates underneath, because it fits really, really tight right now. But before I worry about that, I need to figure out this issue. These are the two new to me racing seats I purchased, and this one has a frame on it, but it really is not going to work for this car. It's not even close to right. I'd have to modify it a bunch. So that is an option, but it would be a lot more work, I think, than trying to make this seat frame fit onto this seat. This seat's in a little bit better condition than the other one, and I don't think it would be all that hard to get this seat frame to fit on this seat. This is the passenger side seat, and the reason I'm wanting to use the passenger side is the driver's side is all electronic. So if I take the original seat off the seat frame, I'll lose all the buttons to control the seat. So I can't move it around. And what's the point of that? So I'm verified and made sure that this one does fit. You have to bend the frame just a little bit to get the bolts in, but they all fit. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Now, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a plate the same size as the bottom of this seat, drill all the bolt holes, and then I'll have to modify it so I can put these clamps onto that plate. There's 4 of them that hold the frame to the seat. I would rather keep the frame as stock as possible just for ease and because I'm lazy. So I think that's the plan. I'm going to go ahead, make a plate, drill some holes, and then we'll figure out how to mount that on there so we can get the seat arrangement figured out. Yay! Ow! Oh man! I'm not gonna cry, 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 I'm not gonna cry. Yeah! Goodbye. Ow! Really hope I can make this work. It's starting to look like it won't. You never know until you ruin something. That's what I always say. Do you ever think that you thought about something and after thinking about it, you thought that you had it all figured out, and you think that it'll all turn out just fine, and then it turns out that you didn't think about it enough, and even though you thought you had it, you really didn't. I think I did that. I thought I had it, but now I don't think so. It fits, but does it really? I'll try and show you what I mean. Hopefully y'all can see this well enough that it will kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. So the plate, this isn't gonna work, is it? The plate fits between these bars, but just barely, like I can get the bolts out and back in, but there's not a whole lot of stuff to connect together. So I think I'm just gonna have to weld these 2 bars to the plate and then maybe put a bar in the center. Because that's about the only option I have. Is that okay? Sure. Yeah. Alright, now I think y'all can see what I mean. I mean, it is barely like right on the cusp of not fitting. Just temporarily tacked it onto the frame. And I've irrevocably, whatever. I irreversibly have modified the seat frame, so even if this doesn't work, it's done for. But I just got it tacked on. I'm going to put the seat back on it, and then we're going to throw it in the car, see if it works. Nope, that's not going to work. Well, I can reach all the stuff pretty easy. I can put my foot to the floor. That's important. The problem is this. This steering wheel is all the way up. And if I get hit, I'm gonna hit my knees on the dash. It doesn't matter how tight you're strapped in. If you get hit, you're sliding around in your seat. It just sits too high. I don't like it! Never do. Well, hello again. It's a brand new day. I decided to call it quits last night, but we're back at it today. So I've already got the front seat back out, and I got the seat off of the frame. I've decided to take this tube here on the front of the seat frame. I'm just going to cut it and then push this whole thing down and re-weld it to the bottom as far down as it'll go. Hopefully that'll tilt my seat forward far enough that my knees aren't, you know, rubbing the old steering wheel. Hopefully. I'm gonna cry if not, because that means I gotta make a whole new seat frame, because that's like the last option I have. So, fingers and toes crossed. Okay, so I got all that done, cut the ends off, pushed the whole thing down, and re-tack welded it to the frame, just so I can test it. And I think that'll work out just fine. It dropped at 2 1/4 inches, which should be plenty, I'm hoping. There it is in all of its glory. Installed exactly where it needs to be. I feel like I fit pretty well in it. I've got about a fist width, you know. That's not accurate. A fist width between the steering wheel and my thigh. So that feels pretty good to me. Nice and far away from the dash, so I'm not gonna whack my kneecap on anything if I get hit. So I think it's time to start putting in the main hoop. I think that fits pretty good. I like it. Alright, I've got my backer plate sitting there. I marked out exactly where it needs to go on both sides. I'm gonna take a grinder to it and take all the paint off and all the glue right there on the seam. We'll weld those in, and then we'll get the roll bar put in. I finally got the main hoop welded in, got the plates in. The hoop fits really good. It's all welded out right now. I think that's gonna be a good place to call it quits for this video. Alright everybody, the car's stripped out, we got the racing seat installed, ready to go, and the main hoop of the roll cage is put in. So, yeah, we'll just save the rest of it for a future video. And I appreciate you all watching this far into the video if you have, and you know, if not, then you're not seeing this. Also, if you're not subscribed, you know, I get it. It's okay. We're not friends yet. But if you could consider subscribing, I would greatly appreciate it, and maybe we can be friends in the future. You know? That'd be nice, right? I could always use more friends.